Hi, I'm Heather from Heather Handmade, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a scrunchie. You can make a scrunchie just like this without a bow, or you can make a scrunchie with a little tie that you tie on. Scrunchies are so fun and popular right now. I love wearing them with buns. My girls often have several on their arm when they go off to school. The great thing about scrunchies is that they are a fast and easy sewing project. You just need some scraps of fabric and some elastic. There is a free pattern for the tie if you want to add that on my blog. If you just want to do the scrunchie with no tie, I give you the measurements in the video so you can make it yourself. Fabric scrunchies are so great for gifts because you can make several at once. It would be really fun to make some matching scrunchies for a team that plays together. You can make them for stocking stuffers. You can make them just to add to a little gift. You can make them for friends if they want to match, sisters if they want to match. You can make them out of quilting cotton, which this pink one is out of quilting cotton and this blue one is out of quilting cotton. This one right here, this pink coral one, is actually out of silk, and I prefer to use silk on my hair. It's a little bit softer. I kind of have curly hair and I need a softer, smoother fabric. So let's get started. For this project you are going to need quilting cotton. Just a small piece will work just fine. You're going to need a 1/4 inch width elastic for the inside, the stretchy part. I'm going to cut out my project with a rotary blade and a cutting mat. There are 2 free pattern pieces that you can get on my blog. I will give you the measurements for this rectangle because that's easy to cut out a rectangle with measurements. This bow piece, which is optional, it's just the little tie on one side. I do recommend getting this piece if you want to do it because it's too hard to give this measurement, this shape, just kind of by measurements. If you want to use silk instead of quilting cotton, that is possible. Silk is very good for your hair, and you'd need a small piece so you can cut up, just some small silk fabric or like a silk blouse or something. If you do use silk and you're doing the bow, you need to add interfacing to the bow or else it will be too lightweight and it will wrinkle too easily to really look good. So we're going to cut out this fabric. So if you are doing just the scrunchie and no bow, you just need 1 of these rectangles. And this rectangle is 3 inches tall and 15 inches wide. If you are adding the bow piece or the tie piece, whatever you want to call it, you're going to need to cut 2 pieces of fabric. Of this bow piece. So you're going to take your rectangle and you are going to fold it so that the long sides match up, and we are going to pin this edge together. Now when we sew this edge, we're going to sew this edge with a straight stitch and a 1/4 inch seam allowance, but you're going to start 1 inch in from each side and backstitch when you start and when you stop. So now you're going to take a safety pin and attach it to one end of your rectangle, and we are going to turn it right side out. Now you need to press your scrunchie flat. You need to kind of roll your seam. If you go like this and roll the seam, it's going to bring that seam right to the edge. And you're going to want to press this flat to get nice crisp edges on both sides. Now that this is pressed flat, take your safety pin again and put it through your elastic, and we're going to slide it through this tube. Make sure that this side does not get lost inside of the fabric. Now these two ends of the elastic are pulled out. You need to overlap them just a little bit, and we're going to just zigzag a couple times to secure these pieces. So now we're going to sew these short ends together. You're going to have to pull them out and match up your corners and straight edges. So pin this right sides together. So you're going to sew this seam with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're going to back stitch when you start and you stop. You're going to have to kind of move it as you sew, since it's kind of bunched up a little bit. You can't just do one straight. So you're going to go a little bit and then you move it, you know, straighten it out, and then sew a little more, maybe straighten it out one more time. So now you can pull that seam back so that everything gets pulled inside. You can see it's starting to look more like a scrunchie. So now the very last step is to fold the seam allowance in for this hole right here. And you're going to match up these folds like this. And then you are going to edge stitch along this hole to combine both sides and secure it. If you use matching thread, it will be almost invisible. And then we will tie the bow, if you're doing the bow, right here at this spot. So now take your two bow pieces and you're going to place them right sides together. And we're going to pin around all the curves. Then we're going to sew around the outside, but you need to leave a 2-inch hole to turn it right side out, and you back stitch when you start and when you stop, and then sew all the way around. Now with the tie, you are going to first kind of trim the curves so you can reduce the bulk inside the ends. Then we're going to turn this right side out. You can use a point turner to poke out those corners if they need some help. Now we're going to press this flat to get it nice and crisp. So there's still a hole, so you're going to use your sewing machine and you're going to edge stitch right next to this edge, just where the hole is, to secure it closed. And then when you tie it up, you won't really see much of this part of the bow. Now that this is sewn, you can stop here and just have your scrunchie. It's all done and ready to use. Or if you want, you can make the bow. And this is where we did the top stitching here. This is the seam, and that's where we will tie this if you decide to add it. So do a square knot to make sure that it will stay nice and strong, not come undone. And once that's tied on, your scrunchie is done. It works great. It has a fun little bow, or it's just a scrunchie like this. And you can use lots of fun colors and prints. And that is how you make a scrunchie with a free sewing pattern or with the measurements in the video. I can't wait to see all of the scrunchies that you make. Please share them with me on social media, and I hope you have a wonderful day.